Welcome everyone to Fort Mill Church of God Student Ministries. I'm Joe Pacheco. This is the wonderful Jamie Pacheco, boss lady, and Luna is definitely singing. It's nap time, so you're going to hear her serenade us while we do our Connect time today. This is going into week 2 of our 4-week series, and we do want to kind of just bring up and just talk a little bit about what our main focus is going to be today. So. Something fun that we've all done maybe when you were a little younger. I know we did it when I was younger. Show and tell, right? That's that time where you would bring a pocket-sized object in that was meaningful to you, and you would come and show it and explain it. Well, let's take a different look at that, right? So what happens at the show and tell? You bring your item, and you decide to show it, but you don't explain anything behind it, right? It makes it really difficult because we don't know why that paperclip is meaningful to you, or that staple remover, right? It can be really awkward. So it'd be a trouble to kind of communicate why that's important to you. Or let's say you did the opposite of that and you decide to keep it in your pocket, but describe and tell us everything about it. It'd be really weird to kind of just hear about the item and not see it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to participate in show and tell, I guess a big part is you got to show.
You got to do both.
And tell, right? So as we continue on and go into that, right? So I'm going to let Miss Jamie take over and actually speak on this a little bit more.
So sometimes when you're trying to explain yourself and you may be unsuccessful to communicate with words, but you may communicate through other actions, such as love through a hug or a smile or an act of service, or to communicate through hurt, through body language, silence, or even sometimes crying. But your message can be misunderstood or missed completely. Maybe when you've been there, you've tried to show someone how you felt, but because you didn't tell them what you were thinking, the message wasn't received.
Kind of like a baby crying.
Mm-hmm.
Example A.
So, it's time to talk about you or someone else that made an empty promise.
That was broken, or maybe it was a statement that was,
backed up with action.
Yeah, just something kind of lackluster, right? Or maybe you've experienced something like that where someone told you one thing, but their actions showed a totally different thing. Now, Jamie, have you ever had an instance like that in your life?
Yeah, like when my husband says he's going to take out the garbage, but then he sits down on the couch and watches TV.
I have a strapping 17-year-old who can take out the trash.
So, let's think about some things. Like, what's one message that could be difficult to communicate without words? Without naming names, what are some ways people's actions sometimes don't line up with their words? So, last week we started a new series about the mission Jesus gave us to tell the whole world about his life, death, and resurrection. It's a big mission, but it's not impossible.
Dun, 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 dun.
But we have a problem. Research shows that one of the most common words people describe Christians today are
hypocritical.
That means many people have encountered Christians described as those who don't live up to their line of...
Basically, their actions don't follow what they're telling, right? Their words, right? So their lives don't really line up with what they're saying or what they're preaching
their
or
words.
Sharing, right?
Mm-hmm. So, we could let that discourage us, or we can see it as a reminder that our mission is like a game show and tell. So, we can't just tell people what we believe. We have to show them with our actions. So, before we go any further, let's recap what our mission is. So, if you know Jesus, this is your mission. Go share the good news.
Ooh, can I do it in my pretend Jesus voice?
Okay.
Go share good news of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection with others. Make disciples. Multiply yourselves.
He likes that voice. Have you ever heard the word evangelism before? And how would you define it? So, evangelism is a word we use to talk about how we, as Jesus followers, carry out their mission. It's not a word you'll find in the Bible, but it comes from a Greek word that you'll find there.
Evangelion.
He's been practicing.
I have. It's a hard word. Oh my goodness, you don't understand. This word is often used to talk about delivering the message of good news.
But some people would often say evangelism has gotten a bad reputation. When some people hear the word evangelism, they think of Christians who are pushy and rude,
insensitive, judgmental, and harsh.
That could be because some people simply don't want to hear the message of Jesus. What did you drink this morning? But it could also be because some of Jesus' followers have tried to tell others about the love of Jesus without showing the love of Jesus through their lives, actions, and relationships. Before Jesus gave us the Great Commission, which we just talked about.
In my great imitation voice, right?
Jesus sent 72 of his disciples out on another mission first. Let's take a look at what Jesus said at the beginning of the mission, because there's something important we can learn from it. So, isn't it interesting that Jesus had so much to say about his disciples' actions and not just their words? He told them to, go for it,
stay in the people's homes, share meals with them, and accept their hospitality. Build long-term relationships. Gather, or rather than moving around consistently. Heal the sick members of the community that they visit.
Jesus didn't say, go into the communities.
Preach at them, then leave.
He wanted his followers to build relationships and learn to serve others while, or even before, they shared the good news with their words. Jesus sent his disciples to tell others about him. Yes, but he also wanted them to spend time with the communities they were reaching out with so they could show the good news of Jesus with other actions too. Years after Jesus' resurrection, a man named Paul.
Wrong. Yeah. Close. Very similar, right? Both start with a P. It's okay.
Became one of the greatest missionaries of all time. Paul never met Jesus.
What? He ain't never meet Jesus.
When Jesus was on earth, but Paul encountered Jesus in a vision that changed his life forever. Paul was a part of many missionary journeys in the city throughout the world, but today, let's look at just some of those journeys on the way. Paul and his partner Barnabas traveled to a city called
Lystra,
and then to another city called
Iconium.
In both of these cities, we see how Paul and Barnabas' words and actions work together to help them share the good news of Jesus.
In Iconium, God gave them the ability to perform miracles in order to confirm that their words that they were saying were true.
And
in Lystra, people began to listen to the message after they saw Paul and Barnabas heal a man who could not walk.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, like the 72 disciples sent out by Jesus, Paul and Barnabas knew that sharing the good news of Jesus wasn't about words or action. It was about showing and telling.
Hint, wink, wink, showing and telling, right? What we talked about earlier. Just want to make sure, a little flashback.
If you are one of the disciples or apostles in the Bible, what part of your mission do you think you would have the most difficult or think is scary?
Time out for me. It'd be going into a totally different place. I don't know anyone, and I expect them to really listen to me. And, have you ever been to a street corner and just started yelling at people about certain things? How many people would pay attention to you?
Yeah, and also during that time, they really didn't like anybody that represented Jesus.
This is true. This was new.
So,
like skinny jeans. They were really new and kind of awkward when they first came out.
So how do you think the disciples and apostles' words and actions work together to make their missions clear?
Well, I guess if you're going to preach about the goodness and the power of your God, then obviously it would have to be something that moved you. So you'd have to speak about something that you've experienced and kind of how it changed your life, and I guess act in that type of way.
Like if you're very passionate about something, like a song, you want to sing it from the top of the roof and just let everybody know this is your favorite song.
Like the church clap. That was everybody. Yes. A couple years ago, that was everybody's thing.
And if you're one of the disciples or apostles in the Bible, how do you think working together makes it clear?
Whew. I mean, you would have to. So you can't just have empty words, I guess. If you say that God is good and He's loving and He appreciates and He doesn't speak ill, I guess you would have to do the same thing and simulate that thing in order to kind of punch home what you're saying, right?
So be Christ-like.
Yes. Agape.
Yes. So, how do we show people the gospel instead of telling people about the gospel? When I read the stories of the early Jesus followers, there's something that I noticed. Wherever they went, they brought value to others.
The words they spoke brought value to others. People found that the message of Jesus was about hope and help they needed in that time. So they responded. Their actions brought value to others. They helped people of disease and helped people in need. The relationships they built brought value to others. They got to know the people and spend time with them. Their relationships helped them better understand how to help others. Here's another consequence of bringing value to others. When we bring value to others, we earn trust and influence with them. Think about the people you trust and are influenced by. Chances are they are people who have helped or added value to your life, whether it's a YouTuber you love or a coach who's invested time in you, or maybe even someone who's been your friend for years. You more likely listen to them than you would words of a stranger. So it's interesting to see how when the apostles helped and brought value to others through their words and actions as well as their relationships, people responded to the message that they had to share.
Wow, that's deep. In both of the passages we both just discussed, these followers of Jesus understood that when it comes to sharing the gospel, sometimes we need to earn
the right to be heard.
If we're going to accept our not-so-secret mission from Jesus, one of the things that will help us is this. Instead of expecting others to listen to what we have to say, we must
earn the right to be heard by bringing value to others.
Through our words, actions, and relationship, we could have the best news in the world, and we do, but unless we've earned trust and influence with others, there's no guarantee people will want to hear what we have to say. You can tell others about Jesus with your words, but you can't show them who Jesus is by letting your words, actions, and relationships be a source of help and hope. for all the people you encounter. If you join, or if you want to join Jesus on his mission, don't just talk, be helpful too. When you add value to others' lives through your words, actions, and relationship, you'll begin to learn and earn the right to be heard.
So what you're saying is, in order to really have that power and be able to be influenced, you have to earn the right and have to earn the respect of that person, or even the understanding of that person, for really to share that.
It's almost like, don't talk about it, be about it.
Ooh, you got to fight for the right to praise.
So, talking about a person who shared the gospel by helping others, you might think ministry is something only adults or pastors do. But we're all called to be ministers, to be to the people around us. It's part of our mission. A guy named Francis Chan wrote a book, Multiply Ministry. Sounds intimidating until you develop a realistic view of what ministry is really about. Maybe you're not gifted to preach sermons, start a rehabilitation clinic, or lead a retreat, but do you know people who struggle with sin? Do you know people who are carrying burdens? If so, then you're stepping towards ministries are just a little bit easier to help them.
One way to kind of sum that up in an acronym is CPR. You know, not the CPR to bring somebody back to life who's maybe drowned or anything like that, but this CPR is care, pray, and respond. So, how can you show and tell people about the good news of Jesus? How can you add so much value to others' lives that they want to hear what you have to talk about, and really follow what Jesus said? Easy. CPR. Care, pray, respond. Care.
Find ways to help people in your town, school, or community who might need help. Someone might be best helped by encouraging words. Someone might be best helped by an act of service. Someone else might be best helped through a relationship. Show them the love of Jesus by helping others.
Pray.
Ask God to give you the opportunities to tell how the good news of Jesus has changed your life. Relax, pray, and wait for God to show you an opportunity.
Respond.
When you've built some influence and trust with the people you've been praying for, respond to whatever opportunity God gives you to share the gospel with words.
Now, that may seem pretty difficult, but no, remember, those things can be simple. It's all about how complex you make them. Okay? One of the reasons we sometimes avoid participating in God's mission is that we're afraid no one will listen. Maybe you can hardly get your dog to listen to you, or for, in our case, our kids, or our middle school kids.
So how are you supposed to get people to hear what you have to say about Jesus?
Showing the gospel with our actions helps us earn the right to be heard when we have an opportunity to tell someone what Jesus means to us. When you add value to others' lives by helping them, your influence in their lives will grow.
Wait, you gotta say it in the voice.
All right, hold on. When you add value to others' lives by helping them, your influence in their lives will grow.
Much better. So, if we only tell others about the love of Jesus without showing love with our actions, our influence is kind of like a deflated balloon.
Nobody likes a deflated balloon. It's all floppy.
Or a deflated football.
Once again, all floppy.
But when we add value to others' lives by being helpful, or our influence begins to grow. Your influence will grow when you decide to help others by
Encouraging someone who's having a rough day. Hey man, keep your head up. It'll get better. Picking up the trash in the cafeteria or in the kitchen, even when it's not yours. It could be your siblings. Helping a classmate or teammate who's struggling. Doesn't have to be big, it can be small. Standing up for someone who's being bullied. Be the shield. Not physically like shield them from being bullied. Just stand up and tell a teacher or tell a parent. Don't engage. Invite someone new into your friend group. Writing a thank you note to a teacher or coach. Ask someone how you can pray for them. And really do it.
As you add value to others' lives, your influence will continue to grow. When you eventually have an opportunity to share the message of Jesus with your words, the influence you have built will allow your words to have a bigger impact. So, what do you say, or will you say yes to your mission? Will you find new ways to add value to the lives of people around you so that the message you have to share can travel faster and further? People need to hear the message you have to share, but first they might need to see what message displayed through your actions. Your words need you to show people.
The world needs you to show people the good news of Jesus, not just tell them about it. Okay, I'm done.
So it's like the don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
So if you want to join Jesus on his mission, start here. Be helpful with your words, actions, and relationships. And then watch what God can do with your growing influence. So
this is a great opportunity to really introduce the Go, Grow, and Glow Challenge. So once again, that's going to be something that we'll probably talk about next week, so keep your eye out for it. Everyone loves the challenge. I know you guys TikTok or watch it. I see you guys are into that stuff. But seriously, the biggest thing we come across with this is it's easy just to talk about it, but it's hard to really follow and show and tell at the same time. A lot of people want to see it in action and just don't want to hear about it. You ever heard the term, "Your talking's cheap, actions move"? So not only spread your experience, your love, and the life of Jesus, but show it with our daily activities, right? And not ours, but your daily activities.
Like with your words, with your actions, with your relationships, or with someone who just wants to talk about Jesus. Just hear him out, show some love, and share the word.
Right now, in today's social climate, it doesn't hurt to show love. Well, speaking of love, we love you guys. It's been about 24 minutes now. It's a lot to go over. Hopefully, we kept you engaged. If you have any comments, keep them to yourself. No, we really do miss you guys. Can't wait to see you. Really want to hug your necks, and hopefully one day soon we'll be able to.
I miss second Saturdays.
I was always in the kitchen. Not so much of a missing there right now.
But we're going to close this out baby style because we can't forget it. So, you ready? It's Joe and Jamie in the morning. Woo!
I mean, it's juice.